Hi everybody, welcome back. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing good, thanks for asking. I'm just going to jump into this because this is one of those things that has kind of been at the back of my mind most of my life that I always thought was fascinating, but I never really looked into it. And now that I've looked into it, I'm kind of like, what's really going on there? What I think is going on there is not what a lot of people think is going on there. A lot of people think it's like mysterious and mystical and paranormal and supernatural and all this other stuff and maybe a little bit UFO-y. That's not what I think is happening at all. And we're going to get into this and I'm going to tell you guys what I think about the Skinwalker Ranch and what is really happening there. The Skinwalker Ranch is located in the Uinta Basin, which is in Utah. And I guess a lot of the tribes around there avoid the area because it is creepy. Now, the Navajo they border on this area, and I looked up what a skinwalker is according to their legend and their folklore and their stories. So I wrote it all down. In Navajo, they are evil witches or sorcerers that can shapeshift into any animal or human, and there's different types of skinwalkers, I guess. In order to gain the ability to become a skinwalker, you have to do something nefarious, and usually it involves hurting or killing or just some bad mojo kind of stuff. Usually the animals that they can shapeshift into are trickster type animals like coyotes or bad omen type animals. That's where the term skinwalker comes from, and then other cultures just kind of pull it into their lore and use the term for other things. It's literally translated into, by means of it, it goes on all fours. The Navajo word is Yinadel-oshi. I'm probably saying that wrong, okay? So I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. It's just an odd thing, goes on all fours. I would guess that would mean a coyote or a bear or a wolf. There's actually a story from the Skinwalker Ranch when... Editing Josie here. So I know this is so soon in the video, but I just wanted to come on here and let you guys know I did try to find images and little clips and stuff of the Skinwalker Ranch itself, but because of the television show, a lot of it is under copyright. The couple images that I could find, I have the licensing stuff down below. That's why there isn't a lot. I am working on finding more. I don't know if I'll find more by the time this video goes up. Anyway, that's why. I hope you guys enjoy. Back to whatever I'm talking about right now. When the Sherman family purchased the ranch, the first week they're there, a wolf comes out and approaches the family, and they have a little bit of a rapport with this wolf. And then this wolf walks away from the family and goes towards a calf and starts attacking the calf. So the dad is trying to shoo it away, and they get the guns and they can't shoot the wolf, and the wolf won't die. And then they track the wolf, and then the footprints vanish out of nowhere. I think you'll know what I think in a second. Actually, I just want to get more into the whole lore of this ranch. So apparently there was a family that owned it. It was the Myers family. They owned it from 1934 to 1994. There are varying reports on what happened to them, but apparently there was no activity, or they didn't report activity. There was people around town who said they had UFO stories and all this other stuff. As far as I can find, Kenneth Myers died a couple years before his wife Edith sold the ranch. They sold the ranch to the Sherman family, okay? And the Sherman family start reporting all of this paranormal activity to the point that they sell the ranch to a billionaire named Robert Bigelow in 1996. And he owned it until 2016. And then he sells it to another billionaire named Brandon Fugel. And it just goes on and on and on. So here's what happened. Here's what I think happened. The Sherman family buys the ranch from the Myers. One of the big stipulations in their agreement was that if the Sherman family wanted to dig anywhere on the property, they had to contact the Myers family first. Now, automatically people this just kind of write this off as, oh, it's mineral rights. That's a very normal thing, the mineral rights thing. A lot of agreements do that because the owners would have the mineral rights, but then the people who were on the property for 50 years would want in on it and that kind of stuff. Why I think they said that they had to contact them first was because I think before the Sherman family moved there, the government put a secret underground base at Skinwalker Ranch to explore different types of mind control things and different types of ways to get people to believe what they wanted them to believe. I know that sounds crazy, right? We're 7 minutes into the video and this sounds crazy. Not even. We're probably like 6 minutes into the video and this sounds crazy. I think what was going on at Skinwalker Ranch had nothing to do with UFOs, with aliens, with poltergeist, with skinwalkers, with legends, with any of this stuff. I think, yes, there was some weird electromagnetic stuff going on because you also have like the Oregon vortex and stuff. And there's points on the earth where there's electromagnetic field fluctuation and there's different things going on. We're surrounded by an electromagnetic field that protects us from the sun's rays. And for there to be weird stuff going on around pinpoints of this, I'm not surprised. Electromagnetic fields screw with people. They just do. And they screw with objects. They screw with electronics. Everything, right? So maybe this place in the Utah Basin or Unitah Basin has some weird electromagnetic stuff around it. I am not a scientist, so I'm not going to say yes or no to that, or whether it has that. What I think was happening was some ultra shit, okay? This is what I think is happening to this day. Maybe it's not as prevalent today because there's television cameras there now, but I think back when this Robert Bigelow and his Bigelow Aerospace had control of the ranch, I absolutely think it was happening. Now, why would you think this is happening when he had control of the ranch and when the Sherman family was living there? So I think the initial experiment started with the Sherman family after the Myers moved out and allowed this to take place underneath their farm. They sold it to the Sherman family. The Sherman family starts experiencing all of these crazy events. And I mean crazy, like cattle mutilations, orbs in the sky, these hovering lights, the dogs dying, the triangle of, weird crap happening, the cows being teleported into a trailer, just really bizarre things. Like they always had feelings of unease as well, and almost like some mind control stuff going on at the ranch. So when they sold it, so the Sherman family sold it at a loss. They sold it for $200,000 and they were like, no, we're out of here. We're done with this. I'm done. The odd thing about that is apparently after the Sherman family left, they still had some of these experiences, and then other family members that were around them started having these experiences. I think that started happening. Maybe they were exposed to something. Maybe they were exposed to something there and it just kind of stuck with them because apparently the experiences started to fade off. Radiation has half-lives. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I am not one to always look for a scientific explanation for something. I think it's wonderful that we have the bizarre and the unusual, but I do think there is an explanation. We just might not know it yet. Editing Josie here. So I was browsing the internet for some images about skinwalkers and stuff, and I just think this video is the cat's ass. It just kind of explains what people describe. It's 100 of the spookiest, apparently, skinwalker videos that this guy found on the internet. I don't know how I feel about all of them being real. I would say 50% are definitely like computer or staged. I don't know. There's a couple in there where I'm like, yeah. Like there's one where they think there's like coyotes in the woods and there's just like flashing lights. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys watch it. It is up in the corner there and it is linked down below. It's creepy as hell. It's like 45 minutes of just Skinwalker stuff, and it is creepy. It is definitely creepy to watch. Don't watch it at night. It just kind of gives you like a spook. You know what I mean? Anyway, back to me yammering about the Skinwalker Ranch. So I wouldn't exactly call myself a skeptic. I would call myself a realist. And a lot of what I think is very based in reality. So Robert Bigelow's team, I'm just going to read this off the page. National Institute for Discovery Science had actual scientists, former military members, and aerospace experts. As he's researching this, these people are having bizarre experiences at the ranch, and then a program called OSAP gets involved, and that stands for Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Applications Program. And that is underneath the Defense Intelligence Agency and is being funded by the CIA. Apparently. Okay, apparently. All of this is apparently. But if this is what's actually happening, I absolutely believe that it was a government experiment. Screwing with people's heads. Bigelow Aerospace owned the ranch in 2008 when this OSAP program was there. The two doctors were Dr. Keller and Dr. Davis. Dr. Keller is a biochemist and Davis is a physicist that explores exotic physics and theoretical propulsion. So there's a lot of people who study theoretical propulsion that are physicists. It's just what they do. There's an entire branch of physics called theoretical physics, and you can watch The Big Bang Theory and understand more of what that's about in a very comic and light way. So, anyway, one of the doctors, it doesn't exactly say which one, and a security guard experienced something that's one of the most famous incidents on the Skinwalker Ranch. They experienced, looking through a night vision goggles or binoculars or scope or whatever it was, but they were looking through night vision. Down in the basin, in the valley, they were up on a hill or up on a cliff or something to have a downward looking view. They see a portal open in the ground and a figure walk out of it. I think that guy saw the door open to the research facility and there's like this light behind it. We're getting totally X-Files here, okay? Because like all the little... There's a very famous scene in X-Files where like the alien spacecraft door opens and the aliens come out and someone's hallucinating and it's actually scientists coming out to like experiment on them and they're on a train car. And anyway, so this scientist through the night vision goggles sees this portal open up in the ground. Hallway. Hatch. For secret base. Think Lost. Secret base in the mountain. And this figure comes out of it with all this light behind him and then it suddenly vanishes, probably because the light goes away and then the figure just kind of ducks down and whatever, right? You're a scientist leaving your secret underground base. Think Lost. They didn't know that the others were watching them, right? So that is one of the most famous incidents that has happened on Skinwalker Ranch. Almost everything else that Bigelow Aerospace investigated is confidential. It's sealed. You can't find it, which is kind of crazy. I don't think I'm that crazy, but that's a little strange. That's like a little on the cusp of what the F for me, okay? Just for me in particular. Let's fast forward to 2016. Brandon Fugel buys the ranch. So he's the new proud owner. He closes it off to outsiders, okay? That's a big thing. He closed it off to outsiders. There's now gates and security and all this other stuff. No one knows why. Here's why. In 2017, Brandon Fugel's company filed a trademark for the Skinwalker Ranch, for a recreation facility, for entertainment, for production, for merchandise, for that kind of stuff. So that trademark is very important, and I have it linked down below. They started production July 2019 at the Skinwalker Ranch for the television series Secrets of the Skinwalker Ranch. The trademark hadn't been passed yet. The trademark finally gets registered on March 14th of 2020. The first episode of the television series airs March 31st, 2020. 15 days later, 16 days later, it airs because they finally got that trademark approved. So they were filming the first season of this series before the trademark was approved. That's an interesting thing. So you knew, everyone's like, oh, but why was there a trademark? Why was this? Why was that? This is just what I've picked up from like all the websites I was kind of looking at. It's because they trademarked the Secrets of the Skinwalker Ranch and they trademarked all of the stuff. What I think is going to happen there in the near future, after they're done filming the TV show, because it's for recreation and facilities, you're going to be able to go spend a night at the Skinwalker Ranch, some like an exclusive kind of holiday weird thing, and they're going to have like tours and stuff going around and you can go have a tour of it. Would I go have a tour of it? Possibly. I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird. So now that they have the production and everything and the TV shows going on, there is a very famous incident that happened in the TV show in 2022. I believe it's season 3 of Secrets of the Skinwalker Ranch, where a Canadian scientist, I'm going to try to say his name. I have it written down. I am French Canadian. It doesn't mean that I know how to say French words. Understood? Understood. Okay, I'm glad we have that cleared up. So I believe his name is said Dr. Jean-Christophe. So in other words, J.C. Valérez. So he was on Fugel's team. So he has this telepathic incident back in 2022 where he's walking near the triangle and suddenly he feels like there's messages being forced into his head. And this guy's a skeptic, apparently. So-called skeptic. Okay, who knows? It's a television show. Take it with a grain of salt, okay? And he's saying he feels really uneasy and he's hearing them say, we are here, like it's repeated, and there's just, he said there's this intense feeling that it's being pushed into his head, and it made him a believer. Like he is visibly shooken up. That's not cool. I think maybe they're still doing a little bit of the experiment. Maybe it's residual experiment gases floating around. I don't know for sure. Okay? We will never know for sure. But that's an incident that happened. And along with, like, of course, all the other incidents of people reporting weird activity and the orbs and all of this other stuff, who knows what it really was, okay? We will never know what it really is unless all of those documents from Mr. Bigelow's aerospace company are released and brought to the public's attention, like how the CIA told us that UFOs are real after the then president at the time told everybody essentially to take like horse tranquilizer to cure COVID. Anyway, that was a whole debacle. I think they released that to try and like switch gears, but everyone was like, yeah, duh. Anywho, as I've been researching this, I have discovered I am not the only person who thinks this was an experiment or is an ongoing experiment. There's a lot of people out there who do think that it's some sort of weird government experiment. Nice to know that I'm not nuts. Nice to know that coming to that conclusion rationally is a normal thing to do. I am not a conspiracy theorist person. Like I said before, I like to look at things very rationally. Do I believe that, there's ghosts and that kind of stuff? Yes. Do I think it's what we think ghosts are? No, I don't. I think that things like this, I think there's other dimensions. I absolutely think that there are other universes out there. That is getting into theoretical physics again, and I am not smart enough to explain that to everybody here. Maybe not that I'm not smart enough, it's that I don't have enough experience in it and I haven't read up on it. And, I could find a paper and just read it to you guys about why they think ghosts are just like echoes from other dimensions and stuff. But we're not going to get into that today. Maybe that's what's going on with the Skinwalker Ranch. Maybe it is a Navajo Skinwalker and we should be scared. Like, legit scared of stuff like that. There are creepy things. Maybe it's psychosis induced, and the psychosis is induced by a mind control agent that is being spread through an underground facility at the Skinwalker Ranch. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know what it is, but what I think is happening is a science experiment done by the government to see just how far they could take it. And it has now become a folklore, a legend, a thing that we associate with something creepy. It is now part of American and Canadian and world mythology, if you really think about it. Everywhere, if you talk about a being that does something like that, there is a version of it in many different cultures. We just happen to have a ranch down in Utah. So, who knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? That's what I think is going on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's so bizarre. The more I dug into it, the more it was like, there is no way this is a supernatural thing. And there's no way this is aliens. Like, people are always like, oh, cattle mutilations, cattle mutilations. I don't think aliens would come all the way to Earth to kill our cows. Unless it's like a really big practical joke for them, but I really don't think they would. I think it would be counterproductive. I don't know. If I was an alien with the technology to travel interstellarly, would I be coming to Earth to poke at cows? No, probably not. Probably not. Abduct humans? Absolutely I would, but not cows. Unless suddenly I think one of the dumbest creatures on Earth is the smartest. It's like orange cat syndrome. Sometimes Marley gets the brain cell. Anyway, that's it for today. That's it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on what you think is going on at the Skinwalker Ranch down below. If you agree with me or if you just think I'm out to lunch in that being my theory of what's happening, I'd love to hear what you think is happening, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!